Welcome back inside the Simplified Technology Solutions Intermissions Report. Wednesday night hockey, Austin Bruins taking on the St. Cloud Norsemen up here in St. Cloud, Minnesota. We'll go ahead and get you the recap of the first 20 minutes of action. But before we do, let's go ahead and take a listen to a conversation that I had earlier this week with Bruins defenseman Frank Dovorany. Frank, thanks again for taking the time coming out here and talking to us about yourself and introducing yourself officially to the Austin faithful. I really appreciate the time.
Yeah, thanks for having me on here.
I want to start a little bit. You're a Wisconsin kid. You played a lot of high school hockey in Wisconsin. We've talked to a number of kids that have played Minnesota State high school hockey, and we talked about comparing that to the junior level. How about Wisconsin? How different is Wisconsin high school hockey to the junior level?
I would definitely say Wisconsin high school hockey is not quite as fast or as physical as junior level, but it's good for kids starting out and working on their skills.
You began your career in the USHL with the Omaha Lancers last season as a defenseman, played 36 games. You were dropped right into the USHL after a 20-game season with Team Wisconsin, which we'll circle back around and talk about here in just a little bit. How was that for you to just kind of be that ice cube dropped right into boiling water? Did you pick it up pretty quickly, or was there a little bit of a learning curve for you?
There was definitely a learning curve. I mean, I was going into the USHL at age 17, right out of Team Wisconsin, and I'm playing with 19, 20-year-olds. So, I mean, big learning curve for sure.
Would you have it any other way?
No, I loved it.
It was one of those. Are you a guy that you enjoy the trial by fire? You'd rather just be thrown out to the wolves and see how you do?
Yeah, I like to earn what's given to me, and going there at such a young age, I obviously had to fight for what I got on the ice, and you just have to keep working.
You did play, one of those things that you earned. You were playing for Team Wisconsin in the Upper Midwest League, the Elite League there. When you play for a team like that, you get an additional 20 or so games on top of the 20, 24 games that you get in high school. Do you think the fact that you played, 45 odd games kind of helped prepare you for the grueling amount of games that you play in the junior level when you're playing, 36 games in the USHL and 49 the following season with Madison? And obviously we're going to have a 56 game season here with the Bruins this season. So do you think being able to play on two of those teams was a little bit easier than if you just played 24 in high school?
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Having the split season with Team Wisconsin and high school, having about 40 or 50 games, like you were saying, it definitely gives us kids not a lot of break time, and like you keep your endurance up. And I feel like it really helped me transitioning to juniors, where there is just a plethora of games to be played.
It's a grueling season, especially this year. It seems even longer with, some of the delays that we went through and things along those lines. How are you kind of adjusting with all this COVID stuff? I mean, this has got to be absolutely bonkers for a hockey player.
Yeah, we've had the temperature checks and the mandatory masks and everything, but I think honestly the hardest thing this year has been the 3 games per week. There's not a lot of rest time, and it's definitely wearing down on a lot of teams right now.
Yeah, the Bruins are averaging almost 3 games a week. I mean, going back to the beginning of February, they definitely had 3 games a week every single week that would pass by. And here we are again, St. Cloud tonight, 2 more coming up against Bismarck this weekend. So it's kind of jump down, turn around, really quick stuff. Obviously not something that you experienced last year in Madison or even the year before when you were with Omaha. But let's talk about your first professional point, or your first junior point. I want to talk about that here. It's something that I don't get the opportunity to ask a lot of guys questions about because not many of them come to us after having played in the USHL before. Usually they leave Austin, go to the USHL, then come back. So do you remember your first point? You had 8 assists last year. Can you remember it pretty vividly?
I don't remember my assists, but I do remember my first goal here in Austin, which was awesome. That was an overtime winner against Janesville.
That was that Sunday game. It was like November 22nd, I think. That was the one where you took it off a rebound as you were coming up the right wing wall. Is that what happened?
Yep.
Yeah, and then you put that one home. Is that
yes?
That was your first junior goal then?
Yeah, my first junior goal after 2 years in the USHL of just hitting nothing but posts and just not finding the back of the net, it was really rewarding to actually finally get a goal under my belt.
You have the puck? You have to have the puck.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have the puck.
Awesome. I would have the puck. Jeez, I have pucks from just doing broadcasts and, just little mementos and things. Playing last year on the Madison Capitals, you started this year in training camp with the Capitals. Is that right?
Yep. So me and Brooksy, we both made the 30-man, and then our team got shut down due to COVID. So then there was a big dispersal, and I ended up choosing Austin, Minnesota.
I'm glad you phrased it exactly like that, because you hit on two questions that I wanted to ask you. You mentioned Barrett Brooks there, a guy that you played with in Team Wisconsin in 2018-19, and then you see each other again in Madison, and then you come to Austin as well. How many guys do you come across, in your day-to-day life that you played against and played for from Wisconsin in general? Is it a handful?
I'd say probably 10 or 12 guys. I mean, we had a really good Team Wisconsin team, but in general, yeah, there's not a lot of guys where I can be like, oh, I played squirts and mites against this guy, and now we're teammates.
Is it hard? Is it hard to turn it off when, after, going toe to toe with a guy for 3 or 4 years, to just be like, all right, fine, he's my friend now?
I think it's good times and bad times. Obviously, yeah, there's a little bit of rivalry, but we're on the same team now, and everything that he does is productive for me as well. So you got to just kind of live and learn.
Did Barrett have anything to do with why you chose Austin? Because my next question to you is going to be, how did you land in Austin after, Madison opted not to play this season? How did you choose Austin? Did Barrett have anything to do with that, or did you have other reasoning as to why you wanted to come to Austin?
I would say Barrett was definitely an influence. After talking to a couple teams, I mean, honestly, it just felt like the right fit and the right style of play I wanted to play. And Alex Trombley as well, coming from Madison here. So, I mean, having a couple guys you already know is definitely nice to have.
You grew up in Wisconsin. We brought that up. You're a Wausau guy, another junior hockey town. Obviously, they have the Wausau River Wolves in the NA3HL. How similar are the two towns of Austin to Wausau? I mean, they're both junior towns. They both hold junior teams. Are they similar in population? Are they similar in style, or is this completely different for you?
I feel like it's a little bit different. I think Wausau definitely has a bigger population, but I can see some similarities.
Are they similarities that you enjoy? Are you a small town kid, or would you rather be in the big old city with the skyscrapers and stuff like that?
I'll take a medium-sized city any day.
All right, so we got Frank the Burbs Dovorany, basically, is where you're going with that, huh?
Yeah, big hunter and big fisher type of guy. So, I mean, small town activities, but I still like having people around me. For sure. We talked about where you've come from, and one last question I want to get to is where you're going. You're already committed Michigan Tech. What made you choose Michigan Tech? That was something that happened before you got here to Austin, so we weren't around to see your decision-making process or hear that. But why Michigan? Why didn't you think of a school maybe in Wisconsin if you had those opportunities? And maybe you didn't, but why Michigan Tech? Yeah, I had a couple opportunities, but honestly, in my opinion, what it really comes down to is where you feel the love. I know it's a little cheesy, but I mean, if they're trying to get you there that bad and they like how you play and stuff, I feel like that's definitely the place you want to be. I'll say the same thing that I said to Reggie Millette. He's going to American International. You guys just like black and yellow. That's all it comes down to. You fall in love with it in Austin, and then you want to go to schools with black and yellow, even though you chose Michigan Tech before Austin. But we can rewrite history. That's pretty intimidating colors, so I'll take it any day. Do you know when you're expected to start your collegiate career? Maybe next year, maybe the following. It all just depends on all this COVID stuff going on and performance based and all that. There's every college player obviously having eligibility for another year due to COVID, so that's kind of keeping things cramped. And you're in a fortunate spot. I mean, at only 19 years old, you don't have to feel, you're not being pushed out right now if you don't want to go. So you can always certainly return to juniors and maybe try to crack another USHL roster next year when things kind of open up. But in the meantime, you're here in Austin. We look forward to watching you out on the ice and seeing you help the Bruins win a few games, because you're certainly a leader on that blue line. Absolutely. Well, thank you for having me. And I look forward to winning many more with the Bruins.
Awesome, Frank. Thanks again for the time, and we'll talk to you again soon this season.
Yep. See ya.
That was Bruins defenseman Frank Dovorany. We got plenty more coming up on the Simplified Technology Solutions Intermissions Report. Stay tuned.